report. We started the meeting just a little late. It's 11:07, so we'll ask that the meeting confirm that it's being recorded for the record, which it is. And also, we will. I want to make a statement. Many of you remember or know our chairman, Mike Vincent. He resigned, and so we typically always we have to fill that vacancy. So we will coincide with our annual meeting, which is today for upcoming year. And so we're going to have election of officers as a replacement for the chair at the end of the meeting. That by the default vacancy, I'm the vice chair, Steve Stummer, so I'll be running the meeting today. We will address the vacancy at the end of the meeting today. Slate of officers. So, can executive assistant Ames confirm, call the roll, and make sure that the attendance will quorum, and I believe our legal counsel is going to confirm that we are in compliance with the state codes for public meetings.
Today with us we have Commissioner Estes, Commissioner Messner, Commissioner Sims,
Present.
Commissioner Worley,
Here.
Commissioner Williams,
Here.
Vice Chair Stummer,
Present.
pardon me, Chairman Stummer today. Treasurer Bethesda.
Present.
Absent today is Commissioner Newhouse Rodriguez. Everyone else is present.
So we are, of course, the law. We'd like to go ahead and confirm that with a quorum by law, and then also look at the records.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we've established a quorum and are in compliance with Indiana's open door law. The meeting has been properly noticed to the benefit of all Hoosiers and stakeholders. And we are currently live streaming the meeting, and it will be on the court's website archived for at least 30 days in compliance with the Indiana code.
Thank you. Let the minutes reflect that. We are in compliance. Well, thank you for the introductory formalities. Now, we typically always ask for public comment section, and that's part of this agenda now. So if there's anyone, we normally have a sign-up sheet, I think. I haven't been given one.
Around. If you have not signed in, please see Doris, and she'll make sure you're getting on the list.
And if not, we try to limit to 5 minutes, but we encourage public comment that you hear. And so we'll open up the floor, raise your hand, state your name, organization. If you have a comment you'd like to make, so open the back. I don't think he's coming forward.
He's working on our IT.
Oh, he's the IT man. He's pretty. So anyway, I don't see any, unless I've missed anybody, any comments. Okay, seeing none, we'll move forward then. So at this point, we are going to have, we have two new commissioners. We'll start with that. And I'll say a few words about two new commissioners. We've already welcomed them amongst our ranks, but we want to introduce them to the full public session. So first, I want to introduce Chuck Williams. Mr. Williams, to my left. Mr. Williams is the managing partner of C.L. Williams & Companies, a real estate development company. In 1994, he co-founded Elgin Custom Wear. Since 2012, Williams has managed C.L. Williams & Company, which is focused on real estate leasing and development. His various service and talent and experience has been very helpful for the commission. So looking forward to his involvement. He's no stranger to the public. He agreed to serve or was elected to the Valparaiso City Council. So congratulations on that. But, local government is where the action is.
There's sympathies.
Yeah, sympathy. So he's used to public life. He also served on the Valparaiso Redevelopment Commission and the Board of Public Works and Safety. So he's no stranger to working with public. He also, education-wise, has a bachelor's degree in chemistry with honors in biology and business. From Indiana University, Wilmington. And finally, Commissioner Williams and his wife Nicole reside in Valparaiso. They have 4 children. We want to extend our welcome to this board. We look forward to working with you. Thank you very much. And then secondly, our newest commissioner to my right is Commissioner Sims, Michael Sims. He's from Chesterton, Indiana. He's currently with the local 150 union, railroad jurisdiction operation over 35 states. It's quite a responsibility. Another talent that we're really looking forward to having that asset brought to the commission. So we'll be tremendous strength for us as well. He also served as with 150 Union and Negotiations, Administration, Grievance Procedures across the Lake Michigan and Indiana Lakefront and steel mills. Worked with U.S. Steel Gary Works for various contractors, performing dock work, heavy equipment operations. Has extensive military service. Let me just say it's very honorable and distinguished from 83 to 2004. That's where he got his education through the military, leadership programs, basic non-commissioned officer training, and on. So very extensive military service. And a number of military wars too. I've never heard some of these wars, but they're very impressive. I'll be honest with you. Thank you. Congratulations. So we welcome Commissioner Sims to the board. Look forward to working with you. Having said that, our legal counsel is going to administer, ask the two of you to come forward in front here. Take the oath of office of this commission.
We'll have to sign your oaths afterwards, but we'll just go forward through the oral presentation of the oath. And we also have a memorial copy of your appointment letter as well. Thank you for your service. Commissioner Williams, do you hereby accept your appointment as a commissioner to the Boards of Indiana effective October 9th, 2025 and continuing through March 31st, 2028? Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of Indiana, and you will honestly, faithfully, and impartially discharge your duties as a member of the Boards Commission to the best of your skill and ability? Thank you for your service and willingness to serve. Commissioner Sims, do you hereby accept your appointment as Commissioner to the Courts of Indiana effective December 4th, 2025 and continuing through March 31st, 2028? Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Indiana, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as a member of the Courts of Indiana Commission to the best of your ability? So, I do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Next on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from our last meeting, September the 11th, and it's been distributed to the packet. And I'm sure you look at it. Are there any comments, questions, corrections, revisions? Anybody has on the floor?
Move we approve.
Got a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Always like sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Next on our agenda is the special presentations. Our CEO, Mr. Peacock, is going to take this one.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, commissioners. I'd like to provide a brief update from Ports of Indiana, a business update. It's a good update. Things that are going very well at Ports of Indiana. We look at our key performance indicators like any business. We really run our operation like a business, but ours are maybe a little different. We look at economic impact, we look at how we invest in our ports, we look at how our companies at the ports are growing, and in those areas we have certainly some good stories to tell. In 2025 we expect to invest about $15 million in our port infrastructure, building out road, rail, docks, etc. And that's we're on a very good trend. If you look at our 5-year CapEx at Ports of Indiana, it's up 500% over the previous 5 years, and that's a very good sign for the livelihood, for the sustainability of our ports, and for the ability to grow business. We have 7 port companies expanding. That's very exciting. That's a testament to the team at the ports, being good partners, supporting our companies and their needs, investing in things that the companies need, and our port companies realizing that this is a place they want to grow their business. That's not always been the case. We've had ups and downs. And so now we're seeing a really exciting time where we've got, and it's not just one location, all 3 ports have companies expanding their operations from grain to steel to fertilizer. So it's very exciting. That investment, this is an economic impact study of trickle down. That is $40 million being invested at the ports over 50 jobs and significant economic impacts come out of that. From a business standpoint, Ports of Indiana is on a trend, a record trend. We expect this will be another record year for us, all-time high in revenue, 14% year-to-date. We have also increased our assets, which is a combination of things. It's profitable growth, it's new companies coming on board with long-term leases, and it's being able to invest in our assets from other sources of financing, capital from federal grants. And so the fact that we're able to put federal dollars into our ports and able to attract new companies, we've increased our assets 9% year-to-date, and we've more than doubled our assets over the last 5 years. And that's a credit to this team and this board, really putting together a good plan for growth in Indiana's ports. So business activity at our ports, just year to date, looking through October numbers, rail operations are up about 10%, property leasing is up about 4%. Cargo is the other side of the coin there. Cargo is down about 15% volume-wise. And so a lot of that has to do with world trade issues, as you might imagine. New tariffs in places that we haven't seen tariffs before, uncertainty in the market. Where we're really seeing the impact volume-wise is steel and coal. And, Jason's port in Mount Vernon, we didn't count coal. He's up 7%. But unfortunately, coal is the big piece of our cargo. Overall, coal represents it's down 1.7 million tons. And if you look at our overall tons of 9.1 million as a whole, 1.7 million drop in coal is a big number. So with coal, we're down 15%. Without coal, as an organization, we're up. Ports are up 1%. Jeffersonville is up 7% overall. Mount Vernon without coal is up 7%. With coal is down 29%. Burns Harbor has the same kind of a challenge with steel. You see this tariffs on steel shipments, import steel, and some of our cargo that's counted is not even international. It's coming through processors at the port. It's domestic steel. But when the manufacturing industry dips, so does the steel usage. And so the port would be up 1% overall without steel, but down 13% without steel. So overall, again, record pace, lots of growth. If you look at our business from a financial standpoint, 20% is maritime, 40% is real estate, 40% is rail. Overall, Indiana's ports generate $8.7 billion to the state economy and support 50,000 total jobs. So strong system, robust activity. To support that activity, you look at our initiatives. We are hiring. We have hired over the last 2 years, a 70% increase in staff. And just this past year, I think we've hired 4 or 5 individuals. The most recent, since our last meeting, we brought on our Chief Commercial Officer, Brady Jacoba, and our Foreign Trade Zone Director, Kent Eck. I'm going to ask Kent to say a few words here about foreign trade zones, because we cut him off in the last session. He's a state expert in foreign trade zones. We've also secured 2 grants for port security. That's important for securing the infrastructure in our ports. We've applied for 6 grants this year, and that may be a record. So we're excited to be able to get that many grants applications out the door. We're still waiting on at least 2, maybe 3 of those, and also the largest grant application we've ever put out there is still pending. So we hope to have news on that in the future, but we'll see. And then last, maybe one of the most significant things we've done, this is a tribute to our finance team, Erica Jackson, CFO. We went out and got a bond assessment rating from Moody's. And we've never done that in the 64 years of this organization. And the question was, what is our cost of capital? What is our bonding rate if we're going to go bond a major acquisition, a major investment, a new container terminal, a new rail yard, a new property? What is our capacity? And we need a rating to understand how that long-term financing would work. Out of the 360 ports in the commercial ports in the U.S., only 25 have bond ratings, so less than 7%. We used a top national expert in bond financing for ports out of Ohio. Their advice to us, or their prediction, was that we're not sure you're going to get a rating. You're kind of new to this, and got a lot of growth, but And we're not sure about how this is going to be rated. Not only did we get a rating, we got an A rating. We got an A3 rating. So we are in the top of the 25 ports that have ratings. Not all of them have A ratings. So we are in the top echelon of what our bond rating would be should we go out and issue bonds. So that's a good sign for our ability to grow, invest in our ports, invest in expansion. So with that, I'll conclude my remarks. Any questions from the commission?
Congratulations on your last point of the rating to Eric and all the team members that worked for that first time in our history. And it says a lot. So thank you for sharing that with us and highlighting that to the public as well.
Thank you. And I would ask, since Kent, we didn't do your presentation in the earlier session, would you like to come up and just, foreign trade zones is something that's always been in our charter. We are the statewide grantee of foreign trade zones, but we have never had a foreign trade zone director. And to have a foreign trade zone director is a big step. To have Kent as a foreign trade zone director is a very big step. Kent Ebbing has been with the airport. Indianapolis Airport has been running the foreign trade zone there for 27 years, has done tremendous things, 400% growth, and is the foremost expert in foreign trade zones in the state of Indiana. So with that, introduce yourself.
So ask for a raise at this point.
Yeah.
Very much, was very nice to introduce myself. Again, Kent Ebbing. My prior years with the airport has been a substantial amount of years working for them and building up their FTZ program, business development, and customer service. So I've spent a lot of time in different roles in management, helping the airport grow from the late 80s all the way up to a few weeks ago. So very proud of that career and the helpfulness of building the FTZ program. A lot of people understand it, but it's something that is very necessary for our economy. So what I hope to do is leverage all of my information to help grow the FTZ impact statewide, especially in the ports jurisdiction. There's 3 different service areas that the ports has control of in the FTZ world specifically, but with its statewide authority, it also influences and has governance over the other grants of authority to ensure that they're also performing to the levels that they should, to try to give that impact back to all the business community as much in their communities that they represent. Currently, what we're working on, we have 7 different companies that are already in feasibility analysis that are working through the pros and cons, so to speak, to see whether that meets their criteria to proceed with actually asking to become an active operator under the program. It's a federal program, helps importers save money and time. That's the bottom line of it. I won't bore you with all the details.
Could you give, though, like just a minute or 2 description of what a foreign trade zone is?
Sure. It's a federal program started in 1934. It's an act through Congress to actually benefit, and it came post the Great Depression to the people that had money were overseas. So it was really set up initially for foreign direct investment. So it was trying to entice foreign companies to come to America to employ Americans and jumpstart our economy again. That was the initial concept. Over the years, through the 50s and 60s and up until the 70s, then it really grew. It took hold. It kind of sat on the shelf, didn't do much, didn't do what it was supposed to do. Congress tweaked those regulations and made it very viable starting in the late 80s. So the big automotive companies started taking hold of it. Next thing you know, it was a domino effect that went through different industries. So by far the biggest industry that takes advantage of the FTZ business is petroleum. But electronics, other items that also come in from offshores 20 miles beyond our national borders is considered an import. What it does, the program helps them through a series of different benefits, gives a specific company at their site, could be in port, could be at their campus, wherever that is, save a bunch of different ways by giving them duty avoidance, duty reduction, duty deferral. There's all kinds of other things that's on the table, but in essence what it is the CFOs love talking to me because you have to break out the spreadsheets, and it's all about the bottom line. So that's the first selling point and consumption point. After that, there's a bunch of ancillary items that also goes with the program. It's hard to put a number on it, but it benefits their efficiency as a company. So everything from weekly entry per shipment that comes in, there would be paperwork that goes with that. You can do that on a one-time weekly entry and bring as many sea containers in as you want and pay 1 MPF fee. So it goes from, if you're importing $500,000 just in MPF fees that you're paying, all of a sudden it goes down to like $26,000. So there's substantial impact to the bottom line immediately, helping these companies gain access to the program. Ports acts as a sponsor for 36 different counties, and we have jurisdiction over those, to help those businesses evangelize it to them, get them to apply, and then actually activate that use at their site. So I walk them through that whole concept all the way up till they start using it. Then we audit once a year to make sure that they're compliant from the grantee's perspective, and then customs inspects annually to make sure they enforce all the rules of actually complying with the program. So we are the good guys, and we help them gain access to all that money so they can reinvest, hire more Hoosiers, build onto their buildings, save money, it strengthens them, and builds our economy. So the program has substantially increased in the last 20 years, exponentially. I mean, it's like a rocket ship going up. Thousands of companies use it. You rarely notice it. You don't see too much in the newspapers other than grantees promoting it, so you don't see a lot of testimonials. But companies use it. There's over 550,000 Americans that are directly employed in FTZs nationwide. It's a nationwide program. Indiana represents over 14,000 who are directly working in it. So like Eli Lilly's in the zone. They're over the Indianapolis Airport Authority. They don't count the whole population that works for Eli Lilly. It's only the people working in specific buildings that are functioning in that environment. So those numbers are accurate. They're not artificially inflated. So the economic impact of it is substantial. It strengthens the economy. It's like an everlasting gobstopper. It self-feeds itself and goes back into it. So those monies are kept bottom line immediately, and those companies can utilize that for adding more staff, adding to the building, increasing wages, giving higher dividends to their shareholders. That's the purpose of the entire program in a nutshell. So my old job represented 41 counties in central Indiana. Ports has Bronx, and then both two different geographic areas down on the Ohio. So that area is ripe with a lot of manufacturers and 3PLs that can take advantage of it. So investing in a main person to specifically market this program is already yielding some dividends. We already have 2 companies that are getting ready to activate. So that will go from 6 active operators to 8 in Q1. We also have 7 that are already doing a feasibility analysis, and we have a bonded warehouse that will be established down in Mount Vernon that we've already been working with one of the providers in port for that particular facility. So I've already made port visits and introduced myself to the CBP or port director down in Evansville, who has jurisdiction over Mount Vernon. Does that answer your question?
I'm well satisfied with that explanation.
That's what happens when you give me your microphone. You can actually ask a question. I should warn you, please don't ask me a question.
I got a shorter question.
Cut me off anytime. If there's anything else,
yeah,
please feel free to reach out to me. I'll be more happy to.
The 2 river ports are border state with Kentucky.
Yeah.
And, they of course have their foreign trade zones, I would assume. So what's the competitive advantage if we're bidding? What's somebody going to use Kentucky versus Indiana for?
From the FTZ perspective, the answer is nothing from a federal perspective.
Okay.
The entitlement is identical. The difference is Miguel runs Louisville. Kent outruns the ports down in Elmira. So the difference, I hate to say, in an FTZ is the knowledge base of the grantee that bears their aggressiveness, their investment in the people, the marketing materials, and the ability to network to strengthen their service area. That usually attracts other people. So I've worked with Miguel for years because he has overflow stock that he could not accommodate. So he would call me to say, hey, Kent, does any of your operators take any of the overflow material? Can they store it for us for those companies? And so I'd reach out to my operators and go, hey, got some temporary need for a few months. Would you be willing to house this stuff? Those types of scenarios are real. So even though we're in competition to a degree, you're really, who's got the best mousetrap, who has the facilities and the infrastructure to really strengthen and take advantage of not only their infrastructure, but throwing like whipped cream over the top is the FTZ. So it enhances everything. It brings to life more conversations about supply chain decisions from CEOs. I've had a lot of conversations and influenced them to invest in my old service area, now will be ports, to invest in those areas and upsell. So those conversations may start with, hey, I've got this thing I need to import, Kent, I'm FTZ, but it becomes immediately an economic development opportunity, business development in the port structure itself. So part of my mission is to ensure that we try to grow investment into the port's jurisdiction itself.
Wonderful. Thank you for that.
Okay. Very nice to meet you.
Yep. Wonderful. Thank you.
So I'd offer an opportunity here, Ryan Ford is here as well. Does not have an action item, I was mistaken, but is prepared to talk a little bit about Burns Harbor and some of his recent projects. So, Ryan.
Good morning, Commissioners. As Jody said, I'm Ryan McCoy. I'm the Port Director at Burns Harbor. Happy to be with you today. I want to highlight a few of the priorities going on at Burns Harbor right now. First and foremost, everybody's heard a lot about the container initiative that's going on, so I will gloss over that one just a little bit and talk about some others. Warehousing space has definitely become a priority for Burns Harbor. I'll highlight that a little bit more in a second here. The third one that we have going on right now is the transition of the grain elevator to Louis Dreyfus, so that took place over the summer. They're going through a lot of maintenance and investment in the facility right now, and are targeting an early 2026 start of the grain elevator, so we're very excited about that. The fourth one I'll also highlight is the development of cargo for the berths that we opened last year. So we had some exciting announcements, and we're going after a lot of new cargo opportunities. We're able to go after a lot of volume now that we have 3 additional berths, because we won't be taking space away from existing cargoes or existing tenants that were already doing regular business in the port. So it's opened up some new opportunities for us. But the one I really want to talk about is the warehousing space. So earlier this year, we did an announcement on the Berth 2 bulk building. Once we broke ground on that, we had 6 inquiries within about a week, Jody, I think. We got 6 inquiries. 4 of those are active tenants in our ports looking for opportunities to expand. One is a former tenant that actually wants to come back to our port and is looking at opportunities and reasons to come back. So it's really highlighted the need for us to get more aggressive now that the Berth 2 bulk building is under construction, getting that commissioned, because we haven't even talked about, that was a grant to build the Berth 2 bulk building that had a cargo focus at it. So that would actually be a 7th opportunity that has been brought to the table. So we really need to get aggressive on covered storage at Burns Harbor, and we're doing that. We're coming up with plans. We've identified 4 parcels and some other opportunities in the ports to explore. Jody's told us to get very
You're
aggressive.
warming though of the big capital request
At a future date.
At
At a future date, yes. Congrats. Can I answer any questions?
And feel free if you have questions about containers or anything else.
Thank you.
Jason, you okay doing yours with your action items?
Yeah.
All right, we are ready for the agenda.
Okay, so we'll start moving right through that. Underneath the action items on the agenda. First is the lease amendment for Agrico expansion. Board Director, Mr. May.
Jason, you've got 2 action items and an update, so you can decide on your order.
I got all day.
Yeah, there you go.
Well,
Good morning, Commissioners. We'll start with the action items. The lease amendment for Ag Depot's expansion in Port of Mount Vernon, requesting delegation of authority to the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate terms and execute a lease amendment with Ag Depot LLC for additional acreage in Mount Vernon. A little background on Ag Depot. They are an agriculture solutions and logistics company based in southwest Illinois with a location at our port in Mount Vernon. The company focuses on distributing starter fertilizer. Ag Depot assumed the lease of our former tenant, Tri-County Agronomics, in July of 2025. Ag Depot's strategy emphasizes efficient logistics, high-quality products, strong customer relationships, and a flexibility to adapt to the changing market conditions to support long-term growth. Ag Depot's facility will employ 2 to 3 full-time people. They will handle a wide range of liquid fertilizer products and additives, which will be marketed to farmer customers in southwest Indiana. The additional acreage as part of this lease amendment will allow Ag Depot to expand their core business into the aggregate market. Our port facility in Mount Vernon will allow them to receive this aggregate material by barge or truck and stockpile on the additional leased acreage. The financial and business implications you'll see in your packet. Staff recommends delegation of authority to the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate final terms and execute a lease amendment for the additional 2.2 acres.
Let's hear the recommendations and maybe some questions. Questions from commission members? Mentioned in the background about flexibility to change market and market conditions. I guess ag market. What does that consist of? How do you market ag? And tell me more about it.
I guess from their perspective, the port gives them the flexibility to receive materials in different forms, whether products coming via barge or via rail, depending on the transportation costs, or via truck. Our location allows them the flexibility to do that.
And that'll be a strength of the market for
Yes.
And, the 2% annual escalator, is that our standard for the start, or is that? I mean, I know that's pretty standard we see in this year.
Yeah, sometimes we'll start a little higher than that negotiated.
I've wondered if much negotiations. So we don't necessarily always start there. So our floor to land.
We've evolved. It used to be everything was a PPI every 5 years, but that was it caused negative effects both for the customer and for us. If it's down or doesn't change in the 5th year, you've got 10 years at the same flat rate, which is not great for escalating costs for the port. But the other side of that, for the tenant, we have a tenant that got a 28% PPI increase. It's not great for them. All of a sudden, with no warning. So a more steady, smaller increases, I think better for local firms.
It helps us manage revenue projections and helps us manage costs.
No options. Okay. So any other questions? Seeing none, the chair will take a motion for approval.
Second.
Is there a second?
Is there a motion?
Oh, I thought you were motion. I'll motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Continue on. All right. You're on the road.
There you go. Second action item is for a lease amendment for Nutrien U.S. expansion in the Port of Mount Vernon. Requesting delegation of authority to the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate terms and execute a lease amendment with Nutrien U.S. for additional acreage in Mount Vernon. Background on Nutrien. Nutrien has been an established tenant at the Port of Indiana, Mount Vernon, where it operates both bulk, agriculture, fertilizer, and liquid fertilizer terminals across 2 sites within the port. Currently, Nutrien U.S. is installing a fertilizer blender at one of the sites on the west end of the port and plans to upgrade the trail and load conveyance system, representing a $6 million investment. To support this expansion, Nutrien U.S. is seeking to lease an approximately 1-acre parcel adjacent to its existing facility, which will be used as a truck staging area. Additionally, the proposed amendment includes granting a license for the conveyance system for Nutrien's facility to the dock, Pier 3, an arrangement that had not previously generated revenue. The financial and business implications you will see in your packet. Staff recommends delegation of authority to the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate final terms and execute a lease agreement for the lease of additional acreage.
Good? I'll ask some questions. I have one. The granting of the license, this may be more legal. I know we have others, but it's not. Tell me more about the granting of the license. It's for the life, when does it expire for this specific term?
So the license concept is used before, similar to what we've done in Louis Dreyfus and Burns Harbor. Because it's not real property and we don't want to grant exclusive use, so this is a license for a conveyor that goes over general port property. So we don't want to lease all the land below there. We want to have a license because we can move that if we need to. So if we need to relocate that because we need it to be higher or move off for certain project cargo, it gives us flexibility. It's integrated. The clause is integrated into the lease, so it's just one document. So we co-term this with the lease. just a separate clause under the lease. So we use that again when it's not real property, or it could be airspace and want exclusive use.
Typically, port companies will lease, they lease all the property they're going to need, and that's it. In this case, the yellow is not their property. This is our property that they need dedicated use to, not exclusive, but they need priority use to be able to operate it. So it's just a different treatment, but it's factored into the lease. It's the lease at the top of Blue Acres and licensing the ones that are not exclusive.
I know this is probably going to make our council cringe, but it's not really an easement, but it's kind of granting them to use that section of our property.
What do you mean, say?
No, that's correct. And an easement would run with the land. So typically with an easement, you record that, and then they own that, and you can't get rid of it. The license is revocable, and you can move that around.
Okay.
So it's similar, but
Yeah, that's,
This is better.
yeah, this is better. Additional questions? Thoughts?
One quick question. It says we have to approve it's more than 4 years. Do you have a sense of how long the lease will be?
This lease runs through 2036.
That's unmoved.
No other questions? Will the chair take a motion for approval?
So moved.
Motion on the floor, second. Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. All right.
All right.
Your update.
We will talk about the top priorities currently we're working on in Mount Vernon. For Commissioner Williams and Commissioner Sims, these will all be new to you. Some of the commissioners have heard a lot about our PIDP railroad, rail and transload yard, which is a port infrastructure and development program grant we received in November of 2024. At the time, and maybe still today, it's the largest grant Ports of Indiana has received at $16 million. This will create an additional 200 plus cars of rail storage and transload area, state-of-the-art transload area in our area, which is unprecedented in the region. We are working currently with Omnitrax, our rail operator in Mount Vernon, to look at potential modifications to the original design, which we did in 2023, 2024. Since then, we've had a tornado come through the port that destroyed a 600,000 square foot warehouse on property that we don't own, which may present some opportunities to reallocate some of our track space and how we do things there. And also Omnitrax was on board, who is the foremost expert as far as rail operators when it comes to some of the things we're looking at accomplishing. So employing both of those groups to see how we improve this project. So it's a once in a lifetime kind of project for Mount Vernon as far as rail capacity and what we can do there, and we just want to make sure we get it exactly right when we do it. So, mega site development and finding tenants for that mega site. We are currently in a partnership with Evansville Regional Economic Partnership and Omnitrax to go through the readiness evaluation for development and investment, shortened to READY. This will put the mega site on the national database, searchable database for site selectors to be able to find that property, which it is not today. This is a program sent forth by the Site Selectors Guild, brought to us as an idea by EREF, and we've run with it since then. So our marketing group has worked with Omnitrax to put together a brochure to market that site as well. So it's getting, not that it hasn't always got attention, but it's very high priority for us now to land a tenant or multiple tenants for that acreage. Mount Vernon Transfer Terminal, Jody had mentioned the coal tonnage being down. That's a significant priority for us as well. To figure out how we can work with them to see what other opportunities may be out there. If it's not coal or there are other products, we can run through that system to help boost tonnage potentially. Their average tonnage since 1983 has been around 2.3 million, and as Jody mentioned, that's down significantly this year. Activating our new crane asset. If you look up, I can see it in the shadow. There's a big red crane out there that looks really similar to the one we have in Mount Vernon now. So it just got delivered at the end of October, part of the Marine Highway grant. That was a $3 million grant that the port received in 2023. So working with SRTI, Indiana River Rail, to work on an operating agreement with that and acquire business for that train to keep it busy. Very impressive if you're in Mount Vernon, you want to come see it. Increased rail volume in Mount Vernon is a continual goal. We're up 1,200 cars here to date as far as cars that come through the port. Rail volume is down on the direct service cars that come to the coal dock with the coal line being down, but as far as what Omnitrack's Mount Vernon Railroad is moving that volume of the 1,200 cars through October. That's it. Lots of good things going on.
Thank you for your support. That's pretty good. Okay, item 3, then we'll move next to Jeffersonville.
Item 2 is this,
Yeah.
this is done.
Yeah, Director of Economic Development.
Commissioners, everyone as well. The action long-term lease with Mix of Lubricants America in Jeffersonville. The requested action is delegation of authority of the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate terms and execute a long-term land lease with Mix America Corporation for a 3-acre site in Jeffersonville. Little background, Mix is headquartered in Tokyo, Japan. They were founded in 1911. They're known for all their low cost of the engine oils, transmission fluids. They sell to all the major Caterpillars, the automotive industry, major manufacturers. They've been a great tenant with the Port of Jeffersonville since 1992. Great tenant and great partner. They're looking to lease 3 acres of land adjacent to their property to add a rail spur to storage of their company-owned cars. Financial and business implications are in your packet. The staff recommends delegation of authority of the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate final terms and execute a long-term lease.
So this is initial first 20, so they have up to 3 additional options, potentially up to 50 years.
Yes,
The option.
correct. Yes, sir.
And what's the notification if they exercise the option? How far in advance do they typically have to notify us? Do you know?
I don't know that, yeah.
We would put that in the lease. I think it's usually 6 months.
6 months notice. That's good. Well, they're good. I mean, I'm familiar with it. That was early on when we sold property. Obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the.
One of the few that do under
Right,
our
serious.
correct, yeah.
Yeah,
It was adjacent to it, yes. Yep.
They've been good customers.
They are. And that rail spur too, talking with them, it's potentially a needed rail spur for future expansion as well on down the road, what they talked, George and I about.
Any other questions? Yes.
One thing I would caution is if we're looking at basically a 50-year lockup on land and you're limiting yourself to 2% escalator. I think if you look back 20 years, 2% is pretty standard. I think if you look over the last 5 years, it's pretty low. In 50 years, I mean, you start having inflation rates of 4 or 5% consecutively. We may want to have some protection every 10 years to be able to do a CPI or some type of catch up. 50 years on 2%, if your inflation rate's 4, and we've got 40 trillion of debt in this country, I don't think our inflation rate's going to go down. We might just look at, that's a standard looking back that was very, but looking forward, these leases 3%, 4% basis.
Good point.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, take a motion. Jared, take a motion. Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Seeing none, motion passes.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Item number 4, Director of Project Delivery, Dr. E3. Welcome. If you presented before, or is this your first?
I've been here about 3 years.
So,
I've never presented anything.
well, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, it's brand new.
All right, so there's an initiation factor.
Initiation, I'll take it. I'll take it.
No.
Julie Petrie, I'm the Director of Project Delivery in the central office. I'm here to present the Ports of Indiana Jeffersonville. They are seeking approval to award a contract for the upgrade of the cargo facility in Jeffersonville and to Parco Constructors Group. The construction project involves enlarging the door, installation of gutters, and upgrades to the gantry crane components. We are also seeking to delegate authority of the Chief Executive Officer to execute the agreement. For a little bit of background, the Ports of Indiana received a bid to enlarge the door opening to accommodate our newly acquired 70,000-pound lift capacity forklift that we received as part of the Marine Highway Grant, to install gutters along the craneway to prevent damage to cargo while it's being transloaded, and to upgrade critical crane components that have not been replaced since the crane was installed at the terminal 30 years ago. The financial information and the business implications are included in your packets. The board staff recommends the award of the contract to Parco Constructors Group, and we request authorization for the CEO to execute that agreement.
For your presentation. So is this an example of our bidding conflict that we're restricted?
Yes.
You were in on that, I guess.
So, Julie, we spent some time on that, and they had a lot of questions about some of the challenges we face in bidding, so feel free to jump into that.
So, yes and no. The awards, or the bids, I guess they got some quotes a year ago. So, a year ago, the world looked a little different, and some of those, so that's part of the cost escalation, but some of this was, there are only so many contractors that are pre-qualified either for the state of Indiana through INDOT or through the Department of Administration. So we're limited on some of our mechanical needs. We're trying to work with some firms to adjust some of those things. We're looking at an on-call program maybe for some of our mechanical contractors. We have a lot of equipment that maybe we didn't have before, and we didn't have the need for those types of things. So we're working with Doug to try to find some new ways to do some of this work that meets our code, meets our specifications, those types of things.
I just thought it was a good example to point out. I know time lapse in November, October, and we redid November, and so some of those naturally increased, but we had a budget 380 is coming at 609, 230,000 difference, but some of that is strictly related to what we've been talking about. And Jody referenced earlier, we could almost clean up somebody take this, almost the savings could pay to get this figured out. For sure. So,
We have some ideas.
okay, well, we'll look for those. Okay, any other questions? Not take a motion. Approval.
So moved.
Second. Motion second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign, seeing none, motion carries. Thank you for your presentation.
Yeah, well, Julie's done a great job in our project delivery. She's been through the transition and has helped us keep the projects on track. But this team here has a heck of a challenge to solve and figuring out how we can get some of our big dollars more and we got some solutions. So, you're lucky. Good job.
Well, we're all good. We're going to get our CFO to come up forward, Ms. Jackson, and present our operating budget.
Good morning again. We're requesting approval of the 2026 operating budget. The staff has prepared and submitted other separate cover of the 2026 operating budget. The budget reflects the staff's reasoned opinions based on lengthy conversations with customers and vendors and stakeholders regarding revenues and disbursements for fiscal year 2026. Full details are provided in the 2026 operating budget, and staff recommends approval of the 2026 operating budget.
Thank you. This is a little commentary, Commissioner. I spent some quality time, it's part of the day. As you had in your packet, if you had some time to look at it, she shared with us earlier today too, some of the details of it. So thank you for your work. We put it all together. Move forward to the implementation of it. Any other comments? Questions? Questions? Public? Seeing none, I'll take a motion on the board.
So moved.
Motion is second. Thank you. All signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Beginning of the meeting, I mentioned about the vacancy of the chair, resignation of Lane, so I stepped in to run the meeting today. And so we're at the point of, I mentioned this was also coincides with our annual meeting where we would be reelected, electing officers. So that's what the portion of our meeting where we are now. There's been a slate of candidates for the board. The slate is Commissioner Stiller, Vice Chair, the Chair, Vice Chairman, Professor, Secretary Treasurer, Nick Testa, Assistant Secretary. This is our CEO. And, so that is up for consideration from the floor. We typically do all the officers at one time. We don't have to. Historically, the slate of officers at one time. You will make a comment.
That's all correct.
It is.
Okay. We do a motion and then a second.
Yeah. So if there's not any discussion, then I'll take a motion.
Move for adoption of the slate.
That's a motion.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We need to officially read that. Okay. Well, we just did. Okay, we're good. Okay, thank you. And, okay, so we're down to the point of new business. And I have three, I have three, so let's walk through them. The first one's a motion to delegate authority to the chair. And you want to comment historically we've done that. It's not something new. I know for at least a few administrations back, the chairs delegated authority by the commission to work with contracts, salaries, compensation, of course, obviously input from the commission as well. But that's the one that took before us now. And there's any questions.
I move to authorize the chairman to negotiate and execute employment contracts on behalf of the commission.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, motion passes. The other one, Jody, we have here is a motion for directing the management to move forward on a draft for a code of conduct. Is it a fair statement to say? And I think there's a motion to be made. We talked about this earlier today and the purpose behind the commission have a code of conduct. Administration, the Ron administration has put forward this to a lot of his agencies, and so we want to be in compliance. It's instructive management. This motion will instruct management to start to pull that together for the commissioners to take to the board of commissioners, and they will draw from a lot of existing parts and pieces of codes and things and put it together. It's ours to bring it back to us for consideration to adopt and move forward with the code of conduct. That's kind of the background story.
I move that the courts of Indiana staff, in consultation with the chairman, prepare a draft commission code of conduct integrated statutory obligations and recognize government best practices for review at an upcoming meeting.
What's your motion? Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed, looks down. None, motion carries. Thank you. And then Jody, I had down to the delegation of authority. Did you work? See you?
No. That's within the existing ones you've already.
Okay, so we'll cover that.
Nothing new there.
Okay. All right. Got a couple comments. First, I want to thank everyone for being here today. I know that's your other comments from the commission. And again, Mr. Ball, for your presence and traffic and distance. But I also know that these things just don't fall in place. We get to walk in and they're set up ready to go. And the baskets in our chairs today, so that's even better. So seriously, I really appreciate your efforts to put the commission meetings together. I know it takes a lot of time to work, put the reports together, get them out to us, put up with our questions that I see seem pretty basic to you all as experts, but we appreciate your patience as well. Really look forward to 2026 working together cohesively as a unit, a team, energy, just feel the energy that's there, and it's really solved. So thank all of you. I want to remind the commissioners, but also I'll say your next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, March the 12th in Jeffersonville. We try to move around our boards. We have locations for the community to be able to participate. So that's the next scheduled meeting, March the 12th, Thursday. We typically will have an evening before that, social time for the community to come. Share anything that's on their mind. And then June 11th, Thursday, Burns Harbor, September 10th, which is a Thursday in Mount Vernon, and December 10th of next year here in Indianapolis. So that's kind of projected at this point.
Will we get calendar entries on those things?
Yes.
Thank you.
And multiple design.
For me, I mean, it's not.
Is there anything else to come before the commission or the commission members this evening, or CEO?
Thank you all very much. Appreciate all the work that you have put in and that you will put in the future. And so we're excited about the team and looking forward to doing great things in 2026.
It's a team effort. We're part-time, hard help. You guys do the work. And, we just want to set the policy, the governance, support you. That's our intention. So, and welcome to our two new commissioners. Really excited about this. We're getting to know each other. And there's no other business to come before the full board of commissioners, and I'll take a motion for sure.
So moved.
Second? All right, we are adjourned. All in favor? Good match. Thank you. All right.